Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Tapoco Lodge. Folks, if you're not ordering up the Calhoun's box to take home for the holidays for your holiday food, and you're instead looking for a special place to spend Turkey Day with family or friends, reserve a spot at the Tapoco Lodge. They're going to have a great buffet. Seatings, they got 5 seatings, start at 10 a.m., 11:30, 1, 2:30, 4. Call them today to set it up. I can't think of a better place to go and spend the holiday. You don't have to do the cooking, and you get this beautiful location where they take care of you. Tapoco Lodge, tapoco.com is where you can go to learn more about their fantastic setting and this Thanksgiving Day special, Tapoco Lodge. Okay, back with Sterling Hinton, Shazan Bradley, Josh Ward, J.J. Surlis, and some sort of ghost that invaded during the last segment. We were hearing noises and banging in here. You might have heard it at home. If you saw us doing this, there was some serious banging behind this wall, and there's nothing back there. Woo. All right. Before I ask these guys a very simple question, let me show you some statistics comparing last season to this season. Points scored. Last year, you averaged just 17 points a game. This year, you're at 20, but that's just a field goal better than last year. Yards per rush, you've gotten worse from 3 yards per carry to under 3 yards per carry this year. Yards per pass attempt, you're up by a yard. Points allowed, you're worse than last year. You're nearly 4 points per game worse than last year. And this is against Power 5 opponents, I should say that, Power 5 opponents. Yards per rush allowed, you're a little better, a yard better. Yards per pass allowed, well, I'm not surprised with the young secondary. You're almost 2 yards worse. My question, though, for you guys, has this team shown the improvement you expected it to back in August?
Me, no. No, and I say because each one of these players on the team now are a year older. The guys that are playing and have holding the onus of the team are a year older. We've been through a lot of adversity the past couple of years. This year is your time to own the team. And I think we let a couple of games get away that we should have absolutely won. And I think that goes to the leadership of the team. And so I expect more out of the leadership than what I'm getting right now.
I think they're playing a whole lot. I think they've gotten a whole lot better. They're playing as good or better than I thought they would. Because you got to take into consideration the coaching staff they had versus the coaching staff they have now. And you go from doing everything wrong to having to learn how to do everything right. You know, it's hard to break old habits. And you can say, well, I mean,
Okay. Well, I thought you and I talked before the season, and you were thinking 8 wins this year.
I was saying 7 and 5.
Okay.
That's what I was expecting. But I mean, if we don't get the wins really at this point, wins really doesn't mean anything in terms of experience and learning how to play the game and getting those big guys up front to get stronger in their lower body and learning how to use that lower body and use that leverage. You have to learn how to use the leverage, and that's what the problem is. So we got big guys, but they're playing on their heels. They're getting hit in the mouth. First thing I'm going to do with the big guys, I'm going to hit him right in the mouth and keep coming on through him. You have to, because if you don't get him rocked back on his heels and he's on his toes, it's over.
Guys, you seen an improvement that you expected?
That's kind of hard to believe, those stats, because we were horrible last year. Again, like Shazan said, breaking these old habits and whatnot, and from just hearing how practices went, I didn't get to see many practices last year. Haven't been this year, but we're not getting any better right now, I don't think. But I think, again, it comes from, I've said this time and time again, if you don't have the dogs up front or you don't have the men up front to make a difference, it's not going to really matter. I mean, if you're going to get pushed off the ball, you have a 280-pound average athlete going against a 330-pound Alabama All-American, he's going to knock you off the ball. So until you get better players, so I don't see much improvement, but again, I think it's just because we don't have the players.
And even more disappointing, though, you weren't going against Alabama and getting pushed off the ball by their lineman last time. You're getting pushed around by South Carolina. Josh.
Yeah, and I think that's why the overall answer for me would be no, is the difference, the gap you still see up front on both sides of the football that you're trying to make up against most opponents. So there's some individual players. I think Jarrett Garantano is obviously a better player than he was a year ago. I would say significantly better. I think the wide receivers, penalties aside, are obviously better than they were a year ago, and Juwan Jennings being back helps with the overall position group. But as a team, until they figure out the line of scrimmage, and that comes through recruiting, I don't think you're going to see that obvious improvement.
Yeah, I think you could single out a couple of the defensive linemen who, until last night, had made improvements. You know, I'm not throwing that out there as a means to everybody harp on the team. It's more of a big picture thing. I think that there's always too much expectation with a new staff. There were so many people that thought, oh, well, now you're going to get a good coach coaching these same guys, and it's going to be night and day difference. I don't know how many people told me 7-4 and 8-5 before the season. I didn't see it because one thing you also got to keep in mind, look around, most coaches, Kirby Smart at Georgia, he inherited a real good team. They were expected to win 9 or 10. They won 7 regular season games. So part of this, the coaches are learning too. They're learning how to get through to these players. So I think it's not the improvement I think most people expected. And I think that you have to admit that. But at the same time, I don't think that means that this is a failure of a year. Plus, there's 4 more games to go. And that's the next question. Tennessee's got to win 3 of those 4. Is there a path to do it? We'll discuss that next on The Sports Source.